And we're live. I hope. Should be. That's what YouTube says.
Welcome to the pre-show.
Should be. That's what YouTube says.
Welcome to the pre-show.
Should be. That's. Oh wait, hang on. Crap. Oh, there was an echo. Oh my gosh. I'm so sorry, everyone listening. I apologize for that. All right, we're good. Don't worry.
Okay.
Sorry, I had the stream open on a tab and it started playing the audio back, and there was like this echo going on, and I was like, "Oh wait, we don't want that."
I mean, that happens.
Yeah.
This is exclusive content that won't be on the re-upload.
It's true. Enjoy it while you can.
So we're here with NICKtendo.
Hey, it's me, NICKtendo. Hello, everyone. NICKtendo here. I don't really say that in my videos anymore, but that's me.
You can't see him on the stream. He's hiding behind the chat box.
I sure am.
Oh gosh. Yep. So we'll get officially started at 4 p.m. EST. Got a really interesting special to talk about today, Mr./Mrs. BMO.
Is that supposed to be me?
What? No. What?
You paused for a second there. I wasn't sure if there was a response coming or
I don't know. I'm
I was confused.
just trying to keep the pre-show going here. I don't know.
We're so professional, guys. All you in the chat, we're professional. Trust us. We know.
Mm-hmm. So who will earn the money from a super chat donation? That all actually goes to Butch Hartman, believe it or not.
He did create our childhoods.
Mm-hmm. Every donate is going to me being an investor in Oaxis. Just kidding, of course. So yeah, we're really just killing time until 4 o'clock, and then we're gonna come in with an official intro and be awesome.
Also, let me know, those of you in the chat, if everything sounds okay. Because if I need to adjust anybody's volume, I can totally do that.
You know, we didn't discuss who was going to get the super chat money ahead of time.
I mean,
Praise
is that
be
really the
Hartman.
right thing to talk about on stream?
You brought it up.
The chat brought it up. All right.
Oh, the chat. We gotta blame the chat for everything.
Hey guys, Spy Guy Rules here, and welcome to Stream Soda. I am joined, as always, of course, by Mr. Shadow Streak.
That's me.
And this week we have special guest Nicholas Tendies.
Hello, everyone. NICKtendo here, and I'm very happy to be here on Stream Soda.
You said that like our name is hard.
I don't know. I was gonna say this something episode, but I forgot how many you've done.
Mm-hmm. We don't number them. This is the July 5th episode.
Great. I'm here on the July 5th episode, which might be the 5th episode. I don't know.
All right. Well, today on Stream Soda, we're going to be talking about Adventure Time with Finn and Jake. Or maybe they just dropped it with Finn and Jake. Maybe that's not a thing anymore. This one wasn't really with Finn and Jake. We're going to be talking about the BMO special of Distant Lands Adventure Time on HBO Max, an HBO Max original.
A Cartoon Network Studios production.
In coordination with Frederator, Allied Media. But yeah, we are going to be talking about the BMO special. We also have a lot of news to talk about, including what Mr. Butch Hartman is up to, including a trailer for Seth Rogen's American Pickle movie that's coming to HBO Max, and just a lot of news. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the world of streaming this week, and we are here to talk about it.
He turns himself into a pickle. Genius.
It's pretty funny. You might even say it's the funniest swear word I've ever seen.
Okay, so yeah, if you don't know, this is Stream Soda. Every week, Shadow and I, and sometimes guest, come and talk about a show or a movie or a special that hits streaming service, and we also talk about some news and just kind of some other stuff. At the end of the show, we do a Q&A section, so if you have any questions or comments that are unrelated to what we are currently talking about, feel free to ask them in like an hour and 40 minutes. And yeah,
Also, feel free to join the Discord. We also answer questions out of there as well, so there's a link to that in the description as well, in case you feel like asking them there instead of them being lost in the chat. So you can do that too.
Cool. And if you feel like super chatting, and you don't have to, please save that for the end of the show, the Q&A section, just so we're not interrupting the show to talk about that. Okay. Yep. So we are going to jump right into it here and talk about what we've streamed in the past week. I have a pretty big one.
Go for it.
All right, Hamilton. Hamilton hit Disney Plus. And this is a big deal because, as far as I know, Disney does not own Hamilton. They own distribution rights, I assume. And so, but this was a huge get for Disney Plus. It's a very, very, very beloved musical. And as far as I'm aware, this is the first like home release of it, period. So unless you wanted to spend like $250 and go to Broadway or any other place that it's playing Hamilton, this is like the first time a lot of people get to see the musical behind the hit songs that everyone has been listening to. So that's pretty sweet. I was not like too interested in it, and in fact, if you're a longtime watcher of my channel, you'll know like 3 or 4 years ago when I talked about the Kids' Choice Awards, I had no idea what Hamilton was, and everyone got really upset. But I know what Hamilton is now, and my girlfriend's pretty into it. She listened to the music a lot, so she convinced me to watch it. And yeah, it's an absolutely killer musical experience. The songs are great, the acting is great, the messaging behind it is really interesting. It's something that like. Yeah, I mean, if you have Disney Plus, see it. And if you don't have Disney Plus, then like a $7 fee to watch this, which is something, again, you'd be paying over like hundreds of dollars to see it live. Not that it's the same experience as seeing it live, but like $7 a month to see it is nothing. And to make it clear, this is not like a movie version. This is an actual performance they had that was filmed with cameras, very professionally done. There's lots of stage direction and camera movement. Stage direction, lots of camera movement and close-ups and production value put into it that makes it a lot of fun to watch. But yeah, no, if you're interested in musical theater at all, I mean, it's absolutely just the thing to see. Also, King George III is the best.
Hamilton's always something that like I've heard about, but like I don't know much about it. But like I know it's like a big thing, and so like the fact that it is on Disney Plus is like finally giving me a reason to look into it. So I'm probably gonna watch it later this week and see what all the fuss is about, because it sounds really good from what I hear. And based on your impressions right now, it's like, okay, yeah, it sounds like it's pretty good.
Well, so one of the great things about it is that Disney Plus is kind of missing a lot of more adult drama type stuff, and this is absolutely it. I mean, they censor, I think, 2 F-bombs in the play, in the musical, but otherwise, nothing is like taken out or removed. All of the kind of like biting political satire is intact. You know, it deals with some very mature themes and ideas, and so it's really neat to see. I don't know. It's not something that's like an obvious fit for Disney, but it seems like something that is like a perfect thing to kind of make up for what Disney is lacking in. Granted, again, I don't think Disney owns. I don't know for certain. I don't think they own the musical itself, but I think they have distribution rights. So it is possible at some point Hamilton will be taken off for whatever distribution reasons. But I got to imagine that since this is such a big deal for them, it's going to be up there for a long time, if not forever. And it does also make me wonder, though, what they're doing with all these miscellaneous things that don't fit under Disney, Marvel, Star Wars, or National Geographics or Pixar. Like, big things like Avatar, The Sims. Like these are huge things, but there's not really like a neat category for them. But
yeah, maybe in an update or something, we'll have to keep an eye out.
Like Shadow, I've heard of Hamilton. I've listened to the music when other people are playing the music, and I'm also there. But no, I haven't seen the show. But yeah, like you said, this seems like a good opportunity to see it without having to pay hundreds of dollars, or nowadays, put my health in danger, if it was open.
Put yourself in a hazmat suit.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. That seems like the ideal way to watch Hamilton.
Yeah, no, it is. You can definitely tell really high production values were put into it. It's not, I was in some musicals in high school, and I have like film versions of all of them, but this is more amateur film, so it's basically mostly just like a one shot of the stage with every so often a few close ups. But this is a complete like. At no point can you not see everything on the stage. You can or all the important things on the stage. They did not cheap out. It's not just like some camera recording the performance. And allegedly it was a real performance too. Like, so there's audience clapping and everything. It wasn't just performed for the cameras.
Do you know how recent the performance was? Like, I know they had the original cast.
Yeah, I heard it. No, I heard it was 2016. I heard it was
okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah. That's what somebody in the chat said, that it was one of the last shows that the original members did. So it was a while ago.
And I mean, I can't say anything about other cast members that came later or whatever. But all I can say is just everyone in this show just knocks it out. And I will say, just for me personally, the first act was a little harder to follow because it goes through like war really fast. But then the second act kind of slows it down and looks at Hamilton's life after the war, the Revolutionary War. But even still, I think like if I were to watch it again, I think I'd really appreciate that. It's very smart, and the characters like rap fast, and they kind of go through a lot of information. Like it's not dumbed down in any way. So it's one of those things where like people are rewatching it because it is the kind of thing that rewatching it is. I don't know. It's kind of made for that because there's a lot of stuff that can slip by you if you don't know the historical context of everything. And allegedly also like most of it is true, or at least most of it is like confirmed fact, and what's not is historical myth. But yeah, that's really cool. What have you guys been watching?
Do you want to go next, Nick?
You can go next. Go ahead.
Okay. So I actually finished Space Force. I know we had talked about this show a few weeks back on one of the other episodes we did, but I finally watched the last 2 episodes because I've been putting it off for so long, and I gotta say, so it ends on some cliffhangers with a lot of different plot points, but the show has not been like renewed for a second season yet. There's no confirmation, so I don't know if it's actually getting one because a lot of the reviews seem very mixed. Like I think it has a 40% now on Rotten Tomatoes and things like that. So I will say it didn't really improve. It still felt the same by the end of the series.
That awkward tone of like not sure if it's a comedy or not.
Exactly. There's some serious moments, but then there's also some like lighthearted humor, but not all the jokes really land. And it just, especially with like the last 2 episodes, which kind of are the big grand season ender, it just doesn't feel like it knows what it wants to do. Because without going into too much spoilers in case anybody in the chat actually wants to watch the rest of Space Force, basically there's a quote-unquote war on the moon, and it just there between the USA and China, and some things happen where it's like one moment the characters are going to do this, and then oh no, let's change our mind and do this. Oh wait, no, we're going back to the first thing. Nope, now we're going to do something new. No, wait, this guy's no longer in command. Now we're going to do what this guy says. Oh, now we're not going to do what he says. But oh no, we are. It just can't make up its mind, and it just feels like it's all these twists and turns, and it never really goes anywhere.
Better or worse than Goons on the Moon? The SpongeBob episode.
Well, Santa doesn't show up, so I mean, it's less ludicrous.
It's my favorite character, Squidina.
No, it doesn't get that out of the ordinary. But I will say that there's definitely a lot of random things that just kind of happen, and it doesn't feel very satisfactory, and it doesn't tie anything up. And a lot of the questions we still have about certain characters, like, for example, Mark's wife, we still don't know what she did or why she's in there or anything like that. Oh,
great.
And there's this whole aspect of Mark's wife wanting an open relationship, Mark not wanting it, but then he, like, tries it anyways. But then that's just a loose end that never has any closure. And I don't know. Like, it feels like it's banking so hard on getting a season 2, but there hasn't been anything said. And if it doesn't, then I would say don't even watch this at all because it's not really going anywhere. So I don't know. It's just a disappointing season finale, and I won't be watching it again. I'll say that much. So
yeah, that show is just weird to me. I don't know. Some people
Yeah.
really, really like it, and that's fine. But it just,
Mm-hmm.
and that's sad to me too, because I figured like maybe it was the kind of show where it is more of a drama that like ties everything in at the end of the season, and it all has like these dramatic reveals, but not sounds like not really from what you're saying.
No,
Mm.
no. If it did have some closure and it did end on like a higher note, then I'd say yeah, that's its saving grace. Kind of like the wall from Solar Opposites, because I got to reference that again. But but yeah, no, I would not recommend watching Space Force after having seen the whole series. I mean, some people still like it, but it seems like more of the consensus is mixed to negative. So
I have seen 2 episodes of Space Force, so I've not really felt like I need to watch the rest.
You didn't force yourself to watch
you
it?
don't.
I
need
did
to.
not. No, I did not.
Honestly, Nick, you should just space your way away from that show.
I will Netflix original series that for sure.
Okay, well, have you watched anything interesting?
Yes, yeah, recently so I did I've been watching Star Wars The Clone Wars on Disney Plus, the show. I barely watched the original show when it was premiering on Cartoon Network like a decade ago. I had very hazy memories of some of the first season, second season episodes, but now I've been going through the show. I did a video on the movie like a couple months ago, and I think Shadow, didn't you say that you felt similarly about the movie in relation to the show? I think you might have like tweeted that out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
So movie's all right, not the best start, but I finally sat down, started watching the show over the past couple weeks. It's been a very slow burn. I'm a Star Wars fan, but I'm not super into Star Wars, hence me waiting this long to finally check out the show. But I'm starting season 4 now, and for first 2 seasons, they're all right. There's a lot of random characters with a bunch of random clone troopers who I do not care about. The biggest defense of this is the episode that introduces, Kit Fisto's and his Padawan.
Yes.
And
Yep.
Excuse me, Nick?
So,
It's a family show.
No, it's real. It's real.
that's his name. That's the character's name. But Kit Fisto's Padawan comes out of nowhere, and he's kind of nervous, and they kind of end up in a death trap. I wonder what's going to happen to Kit Fisto's Padawan. Who has never been mentioned, and I'm not sure if he made any appearances after that, but no spoilers, of course. So season 1 and 2 kind of rocky. I want to mention this one episode because I can't stop thinking about this one character. It's called Senate Murders, and it introduces a character named Tan Devo. And he is this police officer. It's just like someone's murdering other people of the Senate, and this police officer comes in, and he's like, "Oh, I think I run the show. You guys, all you senators, I'm going to take care of this investigation." And he is voiced by Tom Kenny, who's doing his Slinkman voice from Camp Lazlo.
No.
So I cannot take the character seriously one bit. He's just in this
It's
Star Wars
literally
cartoon.
just Slinkman.
Yeah, it's just Slinkman, and there are some interesting voice acting things. If you don't like the sound of D. Bradley Baker's voice, you will absolutely despise the show.
Mm-hmm. Because they're clones, so all the clones have the same
he
voice.
voices all of the clones.
All of them. And they're the.
He's
Nick, I want to watch this show. Stop making it sound not like something I want to watch.
These are the highlights. This is just the stuff that stuck out in my head, because a lot of the show is quite good. They're good at building up Ahsoka, especially in season 3.
Wait, Ahsoka's in this from Avatar?
Yeah. Ahsoka for sure. Which one? I don't know. Also, I like the guy in the chat. Why watch Space Force when you can rewatch Clone High? I agree with that. I definitely did that, but we'll get to that later.
Also, Tunjay just wants to mention that the Star Wars website has a recommended viewing order for the show that doesn't match the broadcast or production orders. So that's lovely.
I started to look at that, but then I kind of forgot about that order, and then just started watching it like the way it aired. And it's fine. You can watch it in the way it aired, and it doesn't matter. I don't know why it's out of order to begin with, because unless you're paying attention to like the context of the episodes, it's an anthology, like anyway. So you jump from like planet to planet.
Does it
but
jump
yeah.
around in time too?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Well, a little
Like-
bit. A little
like when
bit,
you
but it's not
start-
like a huge
Yeah.
jump. Yeah.
I think that's the point of the production or the Star Wars intended viewing order. But yeah, you know, you could skip some of the stuff. Like I watched an episode with Jar Jar Binks where he pretends to be a Jedi, and I'm like, you know what? This reminds me of Planet Sheen. So that's how I thought about that.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way. Like there's a lot of like chunks of Clone Wars that I really like especially when they do like a 2-parter or a 3-parter of like a more serious story. I actually get invested in them. Like there's the one on Mandalore that I really liked.
Oh yeah, with
and
the
then there's
Duchess.
also- yeah, and then I also liked the one where they introduce Grand Moff Tarkin, obviously before he's the Grand
Okay,
Moff.
I watched that one last night, and it didn't need to be a 3-parter. It
could have been.
It could have been 2. There's a lot where I'm like, they go to the part 1 is they go to the place, they infiltrate the place, and the second part should be them escaping the place. But sometimes there's another episode before they escape the place. This happens multiple times. Like they did this 4-episode Geonosis arc, where they go to the place. It's 3 episodes. They go to the place, and then they find these alien bugs, and the bugs come back with them. And that's an entire episode. You could definitely condense a lot of this stuff, but I think the point was to have, it's like a new Star Wars movie every week, every couple of weeks. But yeah, they could definitely pace that out. I do think it's also good at recontextualizing the prequels and introducing stuff from that. Like
I agree 100%.
This one episode I really like called Heroes on Both Sides, where they go to the Separatists, and it's their planet, and you know, we think the Separatists are the bad guys, but they have their own kind of Senate, and it's a little more old-fashioned. And they're like in league with these big businesses, and it was a good way to be like, okay, they kind of got they aren't completely evil bad guys too. I wish George Lucas showed us that when he was making the movies, but I guess there was not enough time.
Oh, there's rebels and bad guys.
Yeah.
In the Star Wars universe.
Yeah. No, that's one thing I commend the Clone Wars for doing, is it actually it brings up a lot of things that, I mean, obviously, yes, it takes place in between 2 or 3, but it also recontextualizes things, and it also adds more of like, I don't think it's called the extended universe anymore. It's whatever Disney's calling it now, but it actually ties into the Mandalorian. Like that Mandalore saga that I mentioned ties directly into what you see towards the end of the Mandalorian. So like Disney is actually aware of the Clone Wars' place in the Star Wars canon, and they're actually using it in other things. Like I'm pretty sure there's also references in like the Star Wars Rebels show that they're making.
Yeah.
So like if you're into other things like that, the Clone Wars is a good way to kind of maybe bridge the gap a little bit.
Right. I haven't seen The Mandalorian. I'm kind of bridging the gap. My only fear with the Clone Wars, this is the last thing I'm going to say, is that I finished, like I said, finished season 3 last night, and it seems like they're starting to move towards getting to Revenge of the Sith stuff, which would mean the end of the show, but I'm halfway through, so I'm worried about how the pacing is going to go. So we'll see.
Philip Court says, a new Star Wars movie every couple of weeks, you say? Be careful. Disney might be listening and might be seeing some dollars.
Oh, no.
If it's animated,
week.
you know, not a bad idea.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. So, good talks, guys. Good talks. We are going to move on to news. And
it's time for everybody's favorite part of the show.
we need, we need some sort of like, I don't know, news bulletin stinger or something. But we've got an Oaxis update for you guys. So nothing is actually happening with Oaxis as per usual. But
you just said it was an Oaxis update.
Well, the thing is that the creator of Oaxis and the sole person behind Oaxis, except for his wife, Mr. Elmer Earl Butch Hartman, is working on other things. So I feel like it's still relevant. The news is that nothing is getting pushed with Oaxis, but don't worry, guys, because Butch Hartman wrote a book and did a podcast about being an entrepreneur and making it in Hollywood.
That's exactly what I've been waiting for. Finally.
Well, so if you want to see the plan of how he plans on bringing Oaxis to real life, you can read his book that he's charging you for, I guess.
Yeah.
Maybe this is why he didn't want to give us any information on his Kickstarter page. This information is too valuable. He needs to sell it to us instead. Not, give it to people who paid to make his dream a reality or attempt to make his dream a reality. So,
yeah.
He'll do anything but actually make the thing that he was paid like $300,000 to make. Like, I don't know. I mean, there's nothing wrong with having multiple projects going on and everything, but it's like, if nothing has materialized on your big high-profile Kickstarter from 2 years ago, and you're out here doing inspirational seminars and podcasts and writing a book and continuing to make YouTube videos and like doing all this other crap, it's like, could he not just be working on the thing that he promised that he'd do?
Butch is an artist, but the cover is pretty bland.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. Like, I can't criticize anything about the book because I have not read it.
And you've not written a book, so...
I have also not written a book. No, I can't. Yeah, I can't. Well, I definitely can't criticize it now. But
NICKtendo is weak, confirmed.
Yeah. I don't think I need Butch Elmer Earl Hartman to say that anyway. I think I can admit that I'm a weak-minded person. But I don't like the cover. That might not be good marketing for Butch. If it doesn't have a good cover, then the people who I don't know. Also, I think it's kind of weird that it's all about pitching shows to Hollywood, getting your stuff going. Haven't like half of his shows for Nickelodeon been executives that step into his office being like, "Hey Butch, what are you working on? I like this drawing / and he just thinks of something on the spot, and then that's how the show gets picked up.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't made a show even now. Like Bunsen is a Beast is still years ago, and the only reason he got Bunsen is a Beast, and even Tough Puppy, is because he was Butch Hartman that already had the reputation. What does he know about someone being like a young upstart in Hollywood? Nothing. Because he was that like 30 years ago. Like,
right.
You know what I mean? I mean, Butch Hartman has achieved things. I'm not saying he hasn't, but it's like his anything that he's pitched since the Fairly Odd Parents has not been would not be the same as if like you or I were to stroll up to Hollywood and try to pitch something, Sure, he can talk about what's worked for him, but it's not going to be good advice for a newcomer unless he's got some sort of insight. And if he does, it's going to be on information that was like from the 90s, right? I mean, it was a lot easier to get a show on Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network when there wasn't tons and tons of creators wanting to be cartoonists, Craig McCracken getting the Powerpuff Girls was just kind of like he went to a party and they were like, "Hey, you got a show?" And he was like, "Sure," right? Like, am I wrong on that, Shadow?
Kinda.
Oh,
yeah. There was a lot. There was a lot more involved.
Yeah.
No, they hit the make cartoon.
Yeah, they hit the make
that's
cartoon.
That's not what I meant. My point just being that it was a lot easier to make connections when there weren't as many people trying to do the same thing. And so
the more time I spend on Twitter, the more time I think about the make cartoon button.
Oh gosh. But it's also really funny that it's called Mad Hustle, which is probably what you'd use if you to describe how you screwed people out of money. That's a pretty mad hustle.
I would say what I would do if I were Butch and I had to write this book. Very hypothetical.
Did he even write it, or is it a ghostwriter too?
Here's the thing. He has interviews with artists who did get their shows picked up, or like aspiring creators that are in the industry. Then that could give the book some value. But for someone who hasn't done work and has only for the past 2 years has proposed and promised work that he hasn't really done anything with. Then I could see the book being a decent read if it focuses on other people's experiences that are more relevant.
Fair. I mean, but if you look at his website, like, so he says that it's for cartoonists, fair enough. But he also says it's for entrepreneurs. If you're all about new opportunities, then this book is for you. Mad Hustle shows you how to not only recognize the opportunities when they appear, but how to have the boldness to take advantage of them. Opportunities are like comets. They're really awesome, but they don't come around every so often, and it might be a long time until you see another one. But it's like, would you take entrepreneurship advice from someone who ran a Kickstarter with no information on it and then proceeded to not deliver on it 2 years later? Like, not even have a plan that he can talk about? A part of me does kind of wonder if he has some plan for Oaxis, but he's literally trying to sell it to people, you know, through inspirational speeches and these discovery phone calls for $6,000. I don't know. It's just like, if you're going to claim that you're some sort of expert and you can make other people's dreams come true, you really need the hard facts behind you. And although, yeah, he had successful cartoons, of course, this is years ago, and any project he's worked on in the past, 10 years, the Hobby Kids Adventures was successful, I guess, but like, I don't know. He doesn't seem, his YouTube channel isn't doing super amazingly, and he just doesn't seem qualified. And I mean, hey, anyone can write a book. I'm not saying they can't, but it just seems sad when he's doing this instead of actually working on what he promised people.
Yeah, that's pretty depressing. I agree.
Also, his contact email is gmail.com.
10 out of 10.
So that just shows you he knows everything. And of course, the the website for this looks to be the same sort of website as Oaxis and as Vision Possible, and his Curing Autism website and everything else. All that web development money that he raised with Oaxis is just gone. I don't know. We don't have to dwell on this anymore. It's just interesting, again, when someone owes a big project, hasn't given any real updates on anything, and then goes on to tell you what a great entrepreneur he is, and here, I can help you make your dream come true.
Amazing.
I believe him.
Yeah. All right, but another talking point I actually noticed, and I just learned about this today, like an hour before the stream, is that Netflix is actually introducing a new feature on their platform, which is something that people have been complaining about for quite a while now. So for those of you who may not know, Netflix is introducing a remove from row feature, which has actually been available for a little while, but they've never like come out and announced it until just now. But basically, you know how whenever you watch something on Netflix and then, you know, maybe you stop watching it an episode or two in, but it's always showing up in the continue watching section? Well, now they actually let you remove it. So it's kind of something you'd think would have been there sooner, and it's a little overdue, but now you can do it. So that's pretty cool, right?
Finally, they fixed Netflix.
They fixed Netflix, guys. It's not broken anymore. It's done.
Nice.
It's done. Yeah.
That's convenient. It should have been there from the start, but that's convenient.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a little minor thing I wanted to bring up because I figured, hey, Netflix isn't at its peak yet in terms of functionality.
I mean, the thing is that Netflix has to market stuff somehow. Like, and since they don't have ads in front of the stuff, like for instance, HBO Max has ads.
You can skip them, right? I think.
Can you?
I did it today.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if I was doing something wrong, but
I couldn't when I casted it. So maybe if I had looked at my phone, I would have been able to. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Netflix has to promote stuff some way, so I understand why they aggressively shove everything in your face all the time. But it definitely is less annoying to be able to control that a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Nick, was there any news that you wanted to talk about this week, buddy?
There's a little show that I want to talk about. A couple little shows. I guess we can move on to the semi-streaming service related news, which I'm not really sure if it's related to it yet. But MTV announced that they're going to be bringing back some of their classic shows. One of them is 2 more seasons of Beavis and Butthead again. And that got picked up on Comedy Central. There was already a Beavis and Butthead revival in like 2011, which I heard it was good. I heard it was very authentic to the show, but it flopped. like view wise. Also, MTV just did not want anything to do with animation, and they still don't. So that's why this is going to Comedy Central, and it's going to be produced by Mike Judge, creator of the original show. He's going to write, voice, produce, and it's going to have Beavis and Butthead enter a whole new Gen Z world. And he said it was the perfect time to get stupid again, or something like that. So it's going to be a little meta. Maybe it's good. I don't know anything about Beavis and Butthead.
I've seen a little bit of it. It's not my thing. It was very popular in its time, but I just don't. I don't know. I don't know who's asking for this. I mean, not to say that they can't, bring something great that no one was asking for. It just seems like, especially after they did come back, and then there really wasn't much fanfare. I don't know. I don't remember anyone being like, "You got to bring, give us another season of the reboot." I don't know. Maybe I'm not hanging out in the right circles, but yeah, no, it's not. It's not my show. Epic Gamer 1 through 7 the Hedgehog asked for it. Okay, all right.
Okay. The only thing I know about Beavis and Butthead is I remember one time I was on vacation and I was visiting Washington D.C. This was probably in 2009, and we were playing a trivia game, and my uncle pulled a card, and it was about Beavis and Butthead, and none of us knew what it was. None of us. So we looked it up, and we just saw the thing where they're both just sitting there going, ha, 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 at the beginning or whatever, and that was our whole impression. That's all I know about the show.
I will say it's a very specific kind of show. It's one of those things where you either kind of like Clone High, to be honest with you. You either love it or you just don't get it. I don't know. Clone High. Who mentioned Clone High?
Did somebody say Clone High? Man,
say what?
I love that show. What did you say? So,
say what?
So, last week I made a video. This is how we're starting the news on this. Last week I made a video.
Nick, do you only ever bring up topics when you can say I made a video on it?
Look, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry this is the second time I've done it. But this is not even advertising. This is definitely related to it. Because for the second time I made a video on something, and then out of nowhere, it just happened to get a revival / reboot announcement / become relevant again. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm a magician, I guess.
Sure. Oh gosh.
Nick, can you bring back a good Powerpuff Girls show, please?
We'll have to see.
Nick, can you bring back a good show, please?
Oh man.
Oh.
Quality is subjective. We'll just leave
Clone
it
High's
there.
okay. Clone High's okay. It's okay.
So MTV is reuniting with the producers and creators Phil Lord, Chris Miller, and Bill Lawrence to bring back Clone High as a reimagining. I don't know if that's a revival. I don't know if that's a reboot, but it's happening. We don't know where it's happening. It could be on a streaming service owned by Viacom, because I think it's a Viacom show. There's a couple other companies that also have their hand in it. It's very complicated, and for that reason, I didn't know if they were ever going to get the rights back to do it, because Disney also has their hand in it, and it was produced by Nelvana, which is a Canadian animation company. So it's kind of a mess. But
written in an abandoned hospital building.
Yes, it was written in the abandoned hospital building that Scrubs was produced in, which is why the whole cast of Scrubs makes cameos.
Yep.
That makes a lot. If you have experience with Scrubs, it's that's why that janitor is the same janitor from Scrubs.
Yep.
It's all connected. But I love Clone High. I just did a big old video on it. Sorry to bring it up again, but it was a funny show about famous historical figures who went to high school, and it made fun of teen dramas. And you should check it out. It's all available on YouTube legally.
Yeah, I
think it is.
There.
I think it's the Teletoon rerun official channel. Could be wrong about that. But it is how many people have watched it.
So are we gonna get like Camp Coral for Clone High if it's a reimagining?
I don't know.
Is
I want to bring up
Clone
this
Junior
comment.
High?
My acquaintance Ryan Rivety says, "NICKtendo, I'm begging you to please make a video on Angelica and Susie's preschool days. I did not get the satisfying ending for the episodes they made."
Oh man. I don't know, but how do you feel, Nick? Do you think, because a lot of the kind of like, I don't know, teen drama shows that they made fun of, I mean, not that teen drama shows aren't around, but it's like they've kind of evolved. Now they're just like all CW garbage.
Well, that's what I think they would make fun of.
Right.
I brought this up before, but I feel like you could do like a 13 Reasons Why parody
no.
of that and also do
Oh,
Riverdale. You can
no.
totally just make fun of those trashy shows now.
Yeah.
And it would be totally on brand. And you can just easily bring the comedy into the modern day. Like there was a lot of references in the old show, but you can definitely bring it now. The cliffhanger ending is set up, so you can just set it, say, oh, it's 2020 something now, and just like keep going from there. But they called it a reimagining, and one detail I want to bring up is the reason why the old show was canceled. The controversial character of Gandhi within the show was not mentioned in the press release. So what are they going to do with Gandhi? Have they figured it out? As far as I know, they haven't written the pilot yet. So maybe there's a chance he could be back. My vote is that Gandhi is not in the show, but they introduce a character that is just like Gandhi, but not Gandhi, so they can get around that,
Right. Yeah, there's some interesting things going on there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
do you think Clone High would be aggressively as weird as it was?
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Because there's not a way. I think if you take away the weirdness, it's not a show anymore.
No, you didn't. I was talking about it with some friends, and they were like, "Yeah, the show got really weird towards the end."
Towards the end.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. That was my response. Like I watched the Snowflake Day episode with them, and they were like, "That one was really weird," and I'm like, "That was the weird one, the Christmas special."
Next time on a very special Clone High. Oh dear, yeah.
Shadow, have you seen the show?
I've seen episodes. I haven't seen the full series, but I've seen enough of it to have an idea of what it is.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I like it.
If you, let's say, reimagining meant same kind of concept, but they pick different historical figures.
They're not going to do that because they mentioned the historical figures from the show in the press release. So,
but they're not going
to do Gandhi.
They're not. Yeah, they're not going to do Gandhi. Like they got through so much trouble before.
Yeah.
They should do. You know what? I'm not even going to make a joke. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah. Dear. So I don't know what it's going to be, but if the creators are on board and they've been doing some great stuff in the past years.
Sorry. What's his name?
What's his name?
It's not Al anymore. Okay.
All right. So I'll go over just some small stuff really quick. Another thing that's really worth talking about is HBO Max actually, without even really saying anything, just went up and replaced the theatrical cut of Batman vs. Superman with an Ultimate Edition, which is like a full 3-hour film now. So it's like they've made it longer. They've added in some stuff that wasn't in the original cut. So basically the Snyder cut of Batman vs. Superman a little bit, which is interesting just because this was actually a film that they were planning on pulling a few weeks ago. And so I don't know if this is their way to maybe make up for that or save face or what. I don't know if they even planned this, but it just kind of dropped out of nowhere. So if anyone's interested in watching it, go ahead because you might not have heard about it. But
cool.
Yeah, that's interesting. But what if I want to watch the regular 2.5-hour cut? What if I just don't have 3 hours of my time? Do I have to just have to
skip ahead in the movie?
Yeah.
Skip to this time.
I have not.
I
haven't looked on the actual service to see if there's an option to choose between them or not. So I'm not sure.
Without getting into a whole thing, it is worrying me more and more how much these streaming services are willing to just kind of mess around with their content like willy-nilly.
Yeah.
Sometimes for good reasons, sometimes not so much, but it definitely does make me want to be more on the physical media bandwagon again, even though like last week or 2 weeks ago I was like, I don't want to move these DVDs anymore. I don't want to have to pop them in and do all this extra stuff. It's just like, I don't know, you never know what they're going to just arbitrarily change and then not ever mention that they're changing. Or not necessarily arbitrarily, but just like, yeah, like, I mean, it might seem like a good thing to have the Ultimate Edition, but yeah, what if you cared about the original cut? Like,
yeah, the way I see it when it comes to that is like, if it's something you're really into or really invested in and you care a lot, then go physical. But if it's something you're only going to want to watch once, I don't think digital is a bad thing. So it's just
did they announce this or
no? They just did it.
I don't understand.
I don't think they announced it.
I don't understand.
They just went
and
did it.
The only reason we know is because places like IGN write articles about this, but
yeah, I just found out because Zack Snyder made a tweet about it, and it just was like, oh, okay, this exists, I guess.
That's where I get all my cinema news. Zack Snyder.
Yeah. Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Straight from the source.
Yeah. So there's that. And then also talking about DC and HBO Max is there's actually a bundle available to DC Universe users.
Don't get too excited. Don't get too excited.
Don't get too excited. Don't worry. Because it only applies to people who had DC Universe before this bundle came out.
No. You have to have the annual version of DC Universe.
Oh, the annual
You can't just
version.
have had DC. You have to have had the annual version of DC Universe, not have HBO Max, and then want to have both of those things. And you get $10 off having both of them. If you already had HBO Max, if you paid monthly for DC Universe, or if you don't care, like, yeah, you get nothing. You get nothing.
Yeah. So very weird stipulations. I'm not sure why they're doing it this way.
Oh, I know why they're doing it this way. Because they want people that subscribed yearly to DC Universe to feel less bad when they merge DC Universe with HBO Max. They want
feel less bad. They gotta still feel somewhat bad.
Wouldn't you, Nick, if you bought into this other service, if you paid for a yearly pass for it, and then suddenly they come out with HBO Max, which also has DC content, and you're paying for the DC service, but that doesn't have like other DC content that's elsewhere, including some big movies. And also, like, Harley Quinn is coming to HBO Max, which is like their only original.
And Doom Patrol's already on HBO
Yeah, like
Max.
if you had gotten a yearly pass like a few months ago before HBO Max dropped, how would you feel? I'd feel pretty ripped off.
Yeah.
Right, I agree. I think it all depends on what you originally used DC Universe to, because it also marketed itself as a comics platform.
Yes,
you could have used it for that. I don't really know anyone who did, but
I did a little bit. But yeah, no, I mean it's not marketed as like, it's marketed as a streaming service. Like,
I got a little time before I gotta wake up. Might as well read some Batman comics.
But yeah, I mean it's inevitable now. Harley Quinn, Doom Patrol's on Max. Max has a lot of DC content, and now they're doing like this bizarre bundle to convert people from DC Universe, because that's what it is. It gets you HBO Max for cheaper than you would ordinarily have to pay. You still have to pay more. It's not giving you like free HBO Max if you already have an annual pass to that. It's just yeah.
You just save some money, but also in relation to that, not only does that bundle exist, but all of the HBO apps, HBO Go, HBO Now, and HBO Max, they're all moving into HBO Max.
Which
we kind of
should have already happened, to be honest.
Yeah, it should have.
They really kind of didn't come out strong with HBO Max, and yeah, I mean, like, say what you want about Disney Plus, but at least they launched. They didn't have all these other Disney apps that they were like mingling with. They had pretty clear messaging about what was going to be on it. They had right at the gate that it was available on like everything. Came out with a lot of content, and HBO Max just it's not like it's awful, but it seems like in every way they keep fumbling this, in that they don't have like this clear plan of integration with their other services. They don't have I don't think there's a, is there a way to buy it yearly? It's just
I couldn't when I pre-ordered it, but I don't know for
there's
now.
also like the fact that if you already have HBO, some providers will give you HBO Max for free. I was reading this on the website today.
I found this out today.
Yeah, like
I wouldn't have gotten it unless. Well, actually, I got to thank you guys because I didn't have an incentive to even check that out before this. I definitely did not scramble to watch the BMO special like an hour before that.
You weren't chomping at the bit to see Adventure? All right, well, we'll get to that in a minute. We're almost done with the
Yeah,
we're almost
there.
done.
Okay.
I just want to say this one funny joke. Fusion is just a cheap tactic to make weak streaming services stronger.
Oh dear. All right. Well, on HBO Max, the last thing is we want to talk about An American Pickle, which is
he turns himself into a pickle.
Okay, so
he calls himself the American Pickle, guys. It's the funniest bad word I've ever
We're
seen.
not bragging. He's the American Pickle.
all right. So,
He's the American Pickle.
so this is a movie by Seth Rogen that has a trailer out now, and it's about a man in like the early 1900s or late 1800s who falls into a vat of pickle brine and then wakes up perfectly preserved 100 years into the future. He meets his great-grandson, who is also played by Seth Rogen. The main character is played by Seth Rogen, and the other guy's played by Seth Rogen. And the two of them, according to the trailer, have like heart-to-heart conversations about Seth Rogen presence, dead family, and struggling to make ends meet, and disappointment, and family. And in this trailer, there's no jokes, but it's about a man who gets yeeted into pickle brine, and it's called An American Pickle.
It just feels like it's the Jack and Jill for Seth
I was gonna
Rogen
say that.
when you think about it.
It's
Bring up
Futurama
Jack and Jill. Jack and Jill for the second time in this stream. Technically, that was the Dunkaccino reference. So
Maybe An American Pickle will have a McDonald's Szechuan sauce commercial or something. I don't know.
But yeah, no.
Gotta tie it back in, guys.
bring it back.
Can I talk about this, or are we just gonna make jokes? I mean, that's fine. If y'all just want to make jokes, that's fine too.
There were no jokes in the trailer. We have to substitute.
Except for David Bowie, I guess, looking like his mom or something.
Bring your own jokes.
I don't know. That was like the only joke there, and I didn't even think it was funny. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, but it's very strange because it definitely seems like it's set up to be a wacky comedy, but then you watch the trailer and it's like they're, and hey, there have been some great comedies that do have really important, serious messages in them. I'm not against that, but it just like, it seems like a very serious movie from the trailer. Even though, again, it's hard to take it seriously when the plot is that a guy falls in a pickle vat for 100 years. It's a dumber version of Futurama. And so maybe it's just a misleading trailer or something. I don't really know what the deal is. I'm not a big Seth Rogen fan. I don't particularly find him funny. I'm not a big fan of people named Seth in general. Apparently. No offense to Seths out there.
All of your Seth named fans. All 5 of them.
I hope there's not somebody named Seth here.
At any rate, yeah, no, I just felt like mentioning that because it seems like one of the weirder things coming to HBO Max. I'm glad they're taking risks and doing weird stuff. Seth Rogen is a decently big name in comedy, so it definitely is like a pull.
There's a Seth. Sorry.
Oh
no.
Sorry, Seth. I'm sorry, buddy. I just don't like Seth Rogen or Seth MacFarlane. That's all. Those are the only two Seths.
What about Seth Green?
I was just about to ask.
Man, I used to like him, but Robot Chicken needed to end like 10 years ago. Anyway. No, listen. Seths are great. All right, let's talk about BMO. BMO Chop.
Hey,
It doesn't have anyone named Seth in it. Yay.
Yay!
Okay, so we're about to talk about Distant Lands BMO. There's going to be spoilers, I think, basically throughout the whole chat. there's a twist in the special, but it's kind of one you see coming. So I don't know. If you want to go into this without knowing anything about it, then turn away now and come back in like 40 minutes for a Q&A. Okay.
So I just want to preface this by saying that I have only seen like a select few episodes of Adventure Time all the way back in 2010. So I went into this with like no experience or expectations or anything. So you guys are going to be the experts here, and I'm just going to kind of rely on you for this because I do have a lot of questions that I don't understand.
We don't necessarily have the answers because
So who's BMO?
No, so I watched this twice, and the second time I watched it with my girlfriend who has not seen anything Adventure Time related. And the reason why I was like, yeah, we'll watch this is because spoilers, although it really doesn't change anything in the context of this. This is a prequel that takes place before everything. So, although there are certain things that you gain better context for if you've seen the show, like what BMO might have been doing planting potatoes on Mars. It's because that's where food comes from, obviously. Did you?
I forgot about
I wouldn't have known that.
Well, they don't ever explain it, but I assume it's just because, again, on Adventure Time, food comes from Mars. And that's about all explanation we get for that.
Okay.
Also,
Abraham Lincoln also comes from Mars.
I thought he came from Clone High.
Yeah, I was gonna make that joke.
Beat ya. But yeah, no. Other than like background references, there really isn't anything that is explained in the show. BMO, outside of the cameo at the end, BMO is the only character from the show in this, except for a character who is heavily implied to be someone from the show. But even that is kind of up to debate because knowing this show, it could be just someone completely unrelated. Isn't that right? What? Princess Bubblegum's Uncle Gumball guy. Not Gumball, the guy from the Lemon Grab episode.
I don't remember who you're
You
talking
don't know who I'm talking about? I'm talking about the baby, when there's Lemon Hope, right? Lemon Hope goes off on an adventure and then someone who is...
That everyone thinks it's
PB.
PB, but it probably isn't.
It's just someone that looks exactly like her.
Yeah. Well, it's a character thing, same thing. I don't also know what character you're implying.
Oh my god, Nick, Nick, buddy, my guy, you've made videos on Adventure Time. We talked about the finale. You cried.
I shed light tears. Let's be fair.
Okay, well, fine. Since we've gone into it, no. This is something we'll talk about later. Basically, the special is pretty self-contained, and it stars BMO off in space as a cowboy. He meets a bunny named Y4, later renamed Y5, and they have to take down this elf alien dude who wants to steal all the resources from the space station thing. Man, Adventure Time's hard to talk about.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well, Shadow.
I liked it.
Okay. Yeah, I like this too. Shadow, what did you think?
I thought it was fine. I mean, I feel like how representative of like Adventure Time is this in terms of like the way it's, not just its comedy, but also like its presentation and ideas and stuff. Would you say it's like same level?
That's hard to say because they've never done like a 40-minute special. It's similar. I'd say it's similar to the mini series that they do. It's not really that similar to the story structure of an episode of Adventure Time, just because they're shorter, so they're not as complex as this. Often, it like an episode of Adventure Time, like if they had to condense this into like a regular Adventure Time episode, it would basically be like BMO shows up and has to find a part for his spaceship and goes through this random space station that they don't explain and then finds the part and blasts off. That would be like an 11-minute version. It wouldn't, there wouldn't be all this other stuff going on. Which I appreciated. I think that since Adventure Time never really got to do kind of like a movie or a TV movie, miniseries notwithstanding and the finale notwithstanding, which even then feels like two different 20-minute specials. I feel like this is a natural progression or evolution on Adventure Time style into something a little more long form.
Yeah, because I was gonna say it came across to me like it was a little more complex than like at least the Adventure Time material that I'm familiar with. Like there seemed to be some, there lots of like plot lines overlapping and different aspects of all these characters, which other than BMO and you said one other character that's implied, all of these characters aren't in the actual series. Okay, so because I was unsure if like the main bad guy Hugo was like in the actual show or if like Y5
I mean,
or whatever.
Knowing Adventure Time, dude, any of these characters could have bonked themselves on the head and ended up in OO and been someone else. You know what I'm talking about, Nick? Upon entering OO's atmosphere, you just suddenly turn into a different character sometimes.
I was thinking about there was almost a reference to not that character, but another alien character from very late in the show in one of the crowd scenes that I thought that was good. There was a lot of little good. Yeah, there's a lot of good like background
Easter
characters, like Cuber, the character from the
Grables.
The Grables, which are their anthology kind of episodes, where it's just a bunch of connected stories. They had some of his species in some of the backgrounds, and I liked all those touches and the space lords. That was a big part of it.
But I'd imagine the most confusing part watching this as a newcomer is trying to sit there and be like, is that explained in the show? And no, we still don't really know what that little what is it, the little fixing pod. I mean, there's a lot of there's a few things. Olive. They
right.
They don't really explain, like, I guess Olive wanted someone to come and fix the station, but they don't really and the ending, like where the guy gets away, the bad guy, we don't know if that's going to be continued in the other distant lands or what. I have no idea. We've never seen like the space station before. We've never seen anything. I would have to imagine though that BMO's character might be a little confusing if you haven't seen the show. Like why sometimes he looks in a reflection has a multiple personality, and why sometimes he seems like he is like cognizant of everything going around him, and sometimes it seems like he has no clue what is happening. Granted, I watched the show and I still don't know what the answer to that is, other than that he's just weird.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Like some of it's kind of explained. You get backstory on BMO in a couple of episodes, which there's a callback to that too.
Yeah, Mo gets referenced.
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean, like, that aside, and Nick, I'm surprised. You're usually someone who would pick up on this. Mr. M. He's got a very human-looking foot. Is voiced by the guy who plays this kind of, I don't know, maybe important character.
Voice. Okay, that was the guy from Stephen Root playing the character, so that makes a lot more sense. I knew it sounded familiar. I just thought it was a voice actor thing.
So here's the thing. Some people are like, this is definitely. Should I say it? I won't. You know who I'm talking. If you've seen the show, you know who I'm talking about.
You might know who you're talking about. Yeah,
right.
Or if you go on the IMDb page for the actor and look at what other roles the show you play.
Yeah. He's prominently featured in my least favorite seasons, so y'all can. No, but
who could it be?
It's Orgalorg. No, but the thing is that just because he shares a voice actor,
we don't like Orgalorg. That's a bad character. Just filling you in.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. I don't know who that is, but I believe you.
Oh, you know who? Yeah. But yeah, everyone thinks it's this character, and I don't know, because again, Adventure Time is big on doing these like really stupid like hints and then being like, LOL, JK, it's actually this. Like, and I don't know what really the point is in hiding him. It would be more marketable if, another character from the show was actually featured in this thing. He certainly acts like the character. I wouldn't be surprised if it was him, but I also don't necessarily. I think there's probably some reasoning behind making it ambiguous.
Yeah, especially if this special is going to be self-contained and it's not going to. That element won't be explored in the others, which it could be. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows, man? And that's
from the synopsises. They seem to be separate stories. In fact, the next one seems to take place at a completely, let's say, different point, different place.
Would you say so? How about BMO as a main character? How do you guys both feel about him?
As somebody who doesn't really know all of the aspects of BMO's character, and as you mentioned, I'm sure there are things that, are explained. Like, yeah, the whole him talking to himself in the reflection, I was like, I'm sure that's in the show. I don't know what this is, but it's in the show.
In the show, yes. Explained? No.
Yeah, I just figured a lot of his quirks. I just figured, yeah, that's probably like normal for this guy. I'm just, not sure because I don't have the full context. But like, it didn't bother me. He wasn't like annoying or anything. I couldn't see myself watching a full series of BMO as the main character, but as a side character, which he seems to be in the show, it was. I thought it was fine.
Well, yeah. No, I just want to respond. Yeah, there are many reasons why people think that Mr. M is a character. He shows his foot at one point, and it looks to be of the same species. There is a line about like, oh, kids always calling out their deadbeat parents.
I thought that was a meta joke.
But that would be foreshadowing because that thing hasn't happened yet. So maybe they're implying that he's time traveling or something. I don't know. That would kind of be a twist, that it is that character, but not exactly in the way we know them, or I don't know. Anyway.
Right. No, that's a possibility from when he made his last appearance. I'm sorry. I want to... I spoiled the gender of the character. Ruh-roh.
It's Abraham Lincoln.
From Clone High?
Yeah.
I want to talk about BMO as a protagonist.
Yeah, go for it.
So I think he was paired up with Y5 for most of that, and I think it worked best when he had someone to play off of.
Yeah.
There's a scene towards the end, where he's all on his own, and he just has to talk through himself and to when he talks to his reflection, and that the story beats they tried to do with that felt kind of phoned in. It's about BMO trying to prove himself a hero, and
he's not a goofy goober, you guys.
Yeah. It's just like I've seen it before, and I was kind of expecting something a little deeper from Adventure Time, especially when they have 40-something minutes to work with.
Yeah. And it's not set up. If you don't already know that BMO has this kind of complexity where he wants to be like a real adult and not seen as just like this goofy kid, that's not set up in the special at all. Not that I'm saying it has to be, but since it is mostly self-contained, I don't know why they wouldn't really like heavily establish that at the beginning.
Yeah, the beginning is kind of confusing because there is no context in this show as to why BMO is here. It is the starting point.
Yeah.
It was at that point early in the special I realized I should turn subtitles on so I can understand the plot a little better.
Oh dear. Are you saying that BMO can be hard to understand sometimes?
No, it's just like I'm like, wait, what, potatoes on Mars? Oh, okay, that's what it is. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if I've ever actually talked about this, but the BMO protagonist episodes of Adventure Time are like my least favorites in the first 5 seasons. I think that every time that they put BMO in the spotlight, it just he's too weird. Like I think he's this cute, adorable sidekick character. He is Sheen, but when you try to Planet Sheen him, which I mean, this is very close to Planet Sheening him literally. Good thing he didn't meet like Schmin and Schmake or something. But basically, I feel like when you put him in the starring role, and especially in the show where they don't like the BMO Noir, they don't even give him a sidekick. It's just BMO talking to himself for 11 minutes, and it's awful in my opinion. But this, I think you're right, Nick. I think Y5 ultimately redeems it. I think BMO makes a great sidekick. I don't hate the character. I just think that he's too distracted. He doesn't have enough motivation on his own to handle a full story, especially not a 40-minute one. And I think I saw something marketing that was like, beloved side character BMO, like
finally gets his chance in the spotlight, like everyone wanted, and it's like, did everyone really want this? Again, you can love BMO, but it's like his role is very much like non sequitur machine. BMO does not play such games with Jake. BMO chop kind of thing, I just, but
Those are both from the same episode.
All right. Well, listen, I like Card Wars, which also gets
a reference.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, I think BMO's cute, but it's like I would never in a million years have been like, yeah, let's make the first 40-minute special Adventure Time BMO, BMO the movie, called BMO. Why couldn't they have just named this something?
Yeah,
right.
I did. I kind of like the new title sequence they have for all of these, which is they did. There's like one main one for Distant Lands and one that's done in CG, which is pretty good. Kind of evokes the original and sound effects. I do wish they did like a classic Adventure Time intro, like they did for all the miniseries. If they did that for each of the specials, that would have been awesome. They could have done that.
I think they will all have original intros. This one had the BMO intro.
Right. Well, I'm talking like ones in the style of the original intro for the show. Yeah.
Yeah, but who would it be? It would be like BMO and Y5, even though we haven't met Y5 yet.
Right.
Adventure Time with BMO and football.
Man. I will say I liked Y5. Her personality was a little hard to nail down for most of the special because she just kind of shows up. And it's not until we see the her relationship with like her parents that her kind of goals are established, and how she works with the other characters.
I mean, it's very Adventure Timey in that they've clearly thought out like how this space station works and the mechanics of it and all this sort of stuff. But it's like the show doesn't really bother telling you much. It just kind of throws you. It explains some things later, but it just kind of throws you in here, and it's just like. I have to say, from the beginning, again, especially when it's just BMO, I was just like, oh, God, is this really what we're getting? Like, is it just going to be BMO in a spaceship talking to himself? Which, oh, God, it could have been. It could have been. Don't tell me they wouldn't do that. But yeah, no, I mean, I was happy enough with BMO as a main character. I still would have picked... honestly, if they had just wanted to do something completely separate from Adventure Time set in the same world, I would have been fine with Wi-Fi being just the main character. Not bothering with BMO. It's kind of a weird statement, but I don't feel like this was improved by having BMO as the main character. Ooh.
No, I agree. He, I don't know. He isn't the most active protagonist. Not to say that he doesn't have an impact on the plot, but he
just kind of does things.
Wi-Fi. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he detracted from the story. Not by too much. I'd say maybe a little when he was on his own. That's when I tuned out just a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I will say, as for the rift where this takes place, their whole with all these pod biomes, there's so many great like background characters. I feel like you could set an entire show in this world. It didn't even feel like kind of a backdoor pilot kind of thing. And I would like to see a return to this location. Like, if there's like a time skip or something, come back to it. That would be cool if all the Distant Land specials build on each other. Like they're all disconnected stories, but then they all come back in the last one. If it's the Finn and Jake one, that could work. But that's
I think it would be a huge bummer if they don't do something further with Mr. M and the main bad guy with Hugo. I think that's kind of just like, because he doesn't even get comeuppance, really. I mean, he's by himself, I guess, floating in space. But I don't know. It feels like the way they end it makes it feel like there's more to the story. And knowing Adventure Time, that could just be the way that they chose to end it. Or it could be like Distant Lands. Each one of them is about a different thing, but like, they intersect with some of these characters introduced in this first one. Like we could see Y5 years later, crossing paths with like Marceline and Bubblegum. I could see her especially like fitting in with that, whatever they're doing. But yeah,
I want to
Yeah, I
Oh,
am.
sorry. Go ahead,
Oh, go ahead.
Shadow.
Okay. I was just gonna say that I think you bringing up the setting, Nick. I know that like out of everything that I saw in this special, the setting was what like kind of appealed to me the most, and like I was paying more attention sometimes to like just the environments or the backgrounds more than what was going on directly in front of me.
Yeah.
And I agree that like I could see a whole show being like set in this location, and there's definitely a lot of potential here. And like again, we don't know what all's coming with the other specials, but like if this area showed up again or what have you, I'd be all for it. I was actually really interested in it. Um, and going off of the kind of loose ends, you guys seem to be hinting that Adventure Time doesn't always tie them up. So I'm not gonna get I'm not gonna get my hopes up or anything, but I don't know what the deal is with Mr. M or Hugo and Olive. Like, are they just sitting there for the rest of the time? Because it just felt like an awkward spot for those characters to just stop. Like, I don't know. So I'll take your word
You might
for
be
it.
on
Maybe
the
that is their fate, but it's just weird because Olive just kind of shows up, takes BMO here, and then leaves, and it's like, what is Olive's motivation? Why is Olive like kind of the catalyst?
It's
for
the other
this?
reindeer.
Okay, well, that movie is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's
but,
great. Shadow introduced it to me.
Hey,
I was bummed that the other little robot wasn't also created by Mo.
Yeah, that other little robot seemed like a
Missed
weird
opportunity.
addition. Yeah.
Exposition dump. It's kind of weird though to just find out that Hugo is the bad guy by just being like, oh yeah, no, Hugo's not a good person. It's like, well, couldn't we see him being villain? Like, do we really have to have this? We could have the exposition dump later, but like, I mean, it was kind of obvious, right? Like, especially with how,
yeah,
I guess, like how soft and gentle he seemed at the beginning. He seemed like overly like they were trying to pull some twist. That didn't really land super hard for me. Mr. M obviously is a jerk from the get go. And yeah, I mean, like, considering they had a lot of time, it's like I feel like they could have really done a better job with like messages or themes or something. Like, there's definitely the theme about being a kid and not being listened to. That's present with Y5 and her mom, but like it's not really subtle. It's just like her arc begins with her mom like yelling at her and being like, "Do you have this thing? Do you have?" And then just throughout the whole thing, her mom's just like patently awful. And then it ends with her mom being like, "You were right, Y5. I am so sorry." And it's just kind of like
They kind of
okay.
lampshade that just a little bit.
I've never heard you say that before.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Mm.
I definitely think that aspect of the story was kind of lacking. I think that interesting thing with this story is that, like you said, it's the first time Adventure Time's really done like a 45-minute special. That's not like a finale or a minute. You can tell that this was meant to be 4 11-minute episodes, not separate, but there are like ad breaks kind of built in, which I'm pretty sure that these first Cartoon Network HBO Max original shows were going to go to Cartoon Network first, especially because some of them were announced for Cartoon Network first. But
I'm surprised they didn't put Steven Universe Future on Max.
It's probably just like, we're gonna put it on later, like they did with all those other Cartoon
No, I mean,
Network
I'm surprised
shows.
they didn't make it an original because because of it being a little more mature and a little different and like a good hook to get anyone who cared about the show to like buy this service. But that's a separate topic.
I think they just wanted it out early with like Comic-Con and stuff. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
Maja the Sky Witch. Oh yeah, love her. I'm glad she had a good ending.
Man, what a great character.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I don't know. I mean, overall, like, I did enjoy this. I mean, one thing we haven't mentioned yet, and I think you guys will agree, it looks gorgeous. I mean, the color choice, the art, the animation, just there's nothing. I don't know. It looks beautiful. I mean, especially in the very beginning, they don't make any like that's just like the first thing that's on display is like, look how beautiful we can make space look.
Someone learned color theory between the end of this show and this one, because boy oh boy, space looks pretty delicious.
Mhm.
Man.
Yeah, that definitely captivated me right from the beginning. I was like, okay, yeah, we're starting off strong. And then it was BMO, in the ship, and I was like, again, I wasn't paying attention to BMO sitting there. I was paying attention. Ooh, look at all the stars.
Yep.
Look at all the colors.
Potatoes.
Yeah. So, yeah, I was more interested in the spectacle than the potatoes. So.
Oh,
I
also
would
just
say-
so you
I
know,
was-
BMO.
I was paying attention to the credits that they put on screen, which I don't know why they decided to do that. The first time Adventure Time's done that, but whatever.
Artsy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of hope there would be more to talk about with this, but honestly, it really is just kind of like I think it's good. Do I think you should get HBO Max to watch this? No. Even if you like
Yeah, this still isn't like a.
even if you like Adventure
Still
Time,
not
it's
fun.
not like this isn't like the continuation that we've always wanted. It's just here's a prequel no one asked for, which is fine, but it's
Yeah, I mean, based on what I see, it looks harmless, but no, this is not a heavy hitter to get the service either. HBO Max is still doesn't have one of those.
Do you guys think if this was just a random Cartoon Network special that they just put on and was like, "Hey guys, here's our new BMO special," do you guys think it would be received differently if it wasn't attached to this big streaming service that has a lot riding on it?
I don't know about that. I know my feelings on it wouldn't really change personally, but like I don't feel ripped off. I didn't feel like oh, I had to pay for this, but I also wouldn't have had HBO Max just to see this. So maybe I don't know. Yeah, I feel like if anything, it probably does hurt general feelings on it, because if anyone was disappointed with this, it's gonna be I paid for this. It doesn't. I guess does it feel like they use the fact that it's tied to HBO Max or like a service where they're getting direct money that they can use to make higher quality things? Did it feel reflective of that? I would say no. It does kind of feel like a special episode. It looks really good, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It doesn't look like next level. Like I don't know. It's fine. I could have lived without it. I'm happy I saw it. Don't get HBO Max for it. I hope. Man, I miss Finn and Jake.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're saving the best for last.
They're the last one? No.
I think they're the last one. Maybe
Oh.
the second to last one.
Well, what's the next one? Is it?
I think
BB
it's
and-
March. Yeah, I think
Okay, that's fine. I'm cool with
that's
that.
Yeah, BMO. If you like the character, and you're already a fan of Adventure Time, you're like it. Don't make this the first thing you're watching at Adventure Time. I'm sorry, Shadow.
Really?
But
I don't.
I was into it. I just like the space setting. I'm just into science fiction animation. Just bring me more of that. And I think it's been cool that Cartoon Network's been doing a lot of weird experimental stuff with their programming, like Steven Universe Future and Infinity Train, each season being like a different story. I think that's been.
Wait, what do you mean? I'm sorry. Infinity Train, the HBO Max original. What does that have to do with Cartoon Network? Let me go here. Let me. I got a real quick catch up on the show. Let me go onto the Cartoon Network tab of HBO Max and get to it.
Side note: I want to say that it is so. It's been so weird that all this Cartoon Network stuff is coming to HBO Max, but when Cartoon Network advertises it, they don't say Cartoon Network at the end. Like, it's weird that the production studio is Cartoon Network, but not where it's being aired.
Shown.
Yeah, not where it's being shown. Like, guys kind of shot yourselves in the foot with naming it Cartoon Network and Cartoon Network Studios. I feel like if at the point where cable dies out and there's no cable channels, just big old streaming services, is Cartoon Network going to be renamed like to Turner Animation or something like that?
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
It's gonna be Go Network.
I'm sorry for that stupid tangent. It's just been really weird to see, like, when they have promos for BMO on Cartoon Network, it just feels like a regular Adventure Time promo. Streaming on HBO Max. So I'm like, not 7/6 Central, only on your Cartoon Network? All right.
Tunjay asks, would someone who doesn't like Adventure Time but likes the Marceline and Ice King episodes like the special? It depends on what you don't like about Adventure Time. If you don't like Finn and Jake for some reason, but like everything else about the show, well, I've never seen anyone with that opinion. But if that was your opinion somehow, then yeah, no, this would be great for you. But if you don't like the show because it can get kind of pretentious and up its own butt and really likes to not explain things and just wants you to go along with weird plot twists and turns and everything that may or may not ever be explained. If you don't like it for that reason, BMO is more of that. So, yeah. All right. Well, I think we're ready to move on to Q&A time.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah.
Root beer guy special. Yeah.
Finally.
Adventure Time, Distant Lands, Ancient Psychic type Tandem Elephant.
Adventure Time, Distant Lands, a red squirrel that doesn't like Jake's doesn't like Jake's Jake doesn't read his blog.
The Duke of Nuts.
Duke of Nuts.
Distant Lands, Duke of Nuts. Oh man, could you imagine if they made like 20 of these and they really got like deep into the Adventure Time character pool? Like, oh man. Okay, so this is the portion of the show where if you want to ask us questions about cartoons or live action or just anything, feel free to do so, and we will answer as best as we can or ignore your question if we don't feel like answering them.
Aww.
So I saw one by Bly the Penny Bicycle 21. Are you excited for the upcoming DVD movie Happy Halloween Scooby-Doo? It's written and directed by Billy and Mandy creator Maxwell Adams. I did see they released a trailer, and it is very interesting for the fact that it is another Scooby-Doo crossover, but it's got some very weird cameos. It's got Bill Nye, I think Elvira, and Scarecrow from Batman, but not Batman.
Oh, what the heck?
I just
Okay.
I just like that Scooby-Doo is just this random assortment of crossovers.
Scooby-Doo is a marketing tool now.
Scooby-Doo's marketing.
It really is.
I part of me kind of digs it. This is also a perfect project for Maxwell Adams to be on. Although I'm sad that I don't think his he tried to do this Kickstarted puppet show that didn't go well recently. But hey, he's still doing work. I think he's been at Warner Bros. For a while. So
is Grimm gonna be in this?
We don't know until we see it.
I hope it's just Dracula, just Billy and Mandy Dracula. That's it. That's the only
SDCU Scooby-Doo Cinematic Universe.
Oh yeah.
Oh man. It really says something when the Scooby-Doo characters and formula is so well tread by now that the only thing they can do is add other characters to make it more interesting. Because doesn't Scoob have I always want to say Captain Falcon, but it's not Captain Falcon. Yeah,
Falcon.
doesn't that
Which is the name of Captain Falcon's ship anyway, so like I get the confusion. Yeah, Blue Falcon and Dino Mutt.
Is number 3 gonna appear at the end? One can only hope. Oh, man. All right, let's see.
Somebody pick a question. There's this spider that's climbing around my room, and I'm trying to kill it.
Hey, please don't spam the same thing.
Thoughts on spamming?
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
This one's called "Don't You Do It." Okay.
All right. I've actually got one in the Discord server from Ratchet Extreme 6. They ask, "How was your guys' 4th of July?" Well, my 4th of July was actually pretty lax.
I watched Clone High.
Nice. I don't know. I didn't really do much. I just kind of worked on video stuff. I was supposed to go to a cookout, but that got canceled. So, yeah, probably the least exciting 4th of July I've ever
I agree.
had.
My neighbors were having fun. Don't know how the situation was, but
my neighbors were having a blast, literally, because they would not stop blasting fireworks at midnight or
I remember I was watching TV at 10. I was like, "Is it raining outside? Is there a thunderstorm?"
Yeah.
I wish there was. So I didn't get to hear that out my window. Let's look at some questions.
What is better, Steven Universe's best season or Adventure Time's best season?
Oh, good question. What's the
What
best
is
season
the best
of
season of Steven Universe? Yeah.
Is it? Oh, the second half of season 1. Does that count?
I wouldn't say
as long as
that's
the others. Yeah, I think it's the best one. I like that one the most. Yeah.
How about whatever season the Steven Bomb Summer was? That was probably my favorite.
Mine
No?
would be whichever one has the least towny episodes.
Wow, that's a great and nuanced opinion there, Shadow. Thanks for that. Thanks for the
Thank
addition
you.
to this discussion.
I'm sorry. It's just I know I think I've said this before. I've just grown sour to those episodes. So
Well, yeah, no, I don't know. I feel like the Steven Universe Summer, because that's the one with Mr. Greg. It's the one with Bismuth. It's the one with that really cool like ending to the season with what is it? Humans. Earthlings, Beta.
That's season 3.
Yeah, so season 3 is probably my favorite, I'd say. I'd have to really go back and look, but
That one has a lot of townies.
listen, but it also has a lot of
Yeah.
it also has a lot of really good story beats.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, not a big fan of the last season.
yeah.
It was pretty good.
I liked Future though.
Yeah, Future was cool.
Still need to see.
All right, well, what's the best season of Adventure Time then, Nick?
Honestly, I think it might be like one of the later ones. Like they disorganized the episodes, but I really liked like 7 or 8. Like when they were like deep into the miniseries, the one
I think I give 8.
I don't know the whatever one Hall of Egress is, because that's my favorite episode.
Yeah,
that was just a really solid run. It caught me off guard because Adventure Time up until that point was not in the best place.
Yeah, I would probably say either 4 or I think it's 8. I think 8's the one with like the 2 miniseries in them.
Yeah.
7. You're right. 7. I think 7's the one with Egress, and Egress is a great episode. But yeah, I don't. Well, see, that's the thing. It's such a mishmash of episodes that there's generally not like a season that has like a feel or. I don't know. You know what I'm trying to say? They don't do storylines in the same way that Steven Universe does. I don't know. I'd probably say season 4. Season 4 has oh gosh, I Remember You.
Yeah.
And that's pretty dope.
Season 4 is weird for me because I feel like I'm starting to, I don't know, it started to get a little dark and I wasn't ready for it. Like I watched Adventure Time for the comedy at the time. Going back to it, I can appreciate it more, but there's some episodes that just I love the season with Dream of Love, you know?
Why? Thank you for the super chat, Trash Mammal. Great name. Hey guys, I've asked before what your favorite underrated joke is, but now what is your least favorite overrated joke? Probably anything.
Guy says, I'm gonna watch your videos. That's my favorite one. My least favorite.
Watch your videos, Nick.
Oh yeah.
I've seen every one of the videos you've released in the past like 2 months, except for the Colombo High one.
Fair.
At any rate, maybe Pickle Rick at this point. Even though we were making the jokes earlier, it just... Or no, I'll say Szechuan sauce. I think Szechuan sauce is worse because that one's super old by now, and every time anyone mentions it, they bring up like the guy screaming about Szechuan sauce on the floor of Big Burger King, even though that was just a performance by a guy like intending to make the Rick and Morty fandom look stupid. I don't know. How about you guys?
I'm trying to think of like my least favorite meme.
Oh, I've got another one too. Dan Schneider.
Well, okay.
I completely
Yeah.
understand why everyone makes the jokes. You know, I
Yeah.
get it, and some of them can be funny, but it's just you cannot mention his name or Nickelodeon or Feet or iCarly or like literally anything related to topics without just like a million comments making the same dumb rhymes over and over again. And it's like, you know, if things really did happen, these are real people who are victims of this guy, and I get the need to like make fun of him to cut him down or whatever, but it's just the same dumb jokes over and over and over again. And I don't know.
No, I understand that. I don't really, I don't really joke about Dan Schneider as much as I do like Butch Hartman. So
Yeah.
I get
Yeah,
that.
I can't really think of anything that isn't like something generic, like jokes making fun of recent tragic events, which, if you're on Twitter,
Yeah.
you see a lot of them. It's just in bad
Yep.
taste.
Yep.
Now that you mention that, yeah, no, I know what my least favorite are, and it's 9/11 jokes. I do not find those funny at all.
Completely understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not only is it like, a very serious issue, but like that's like a historical event that I've done a lot of research and studying on, not to mention the fact that my aunt was there when that happened. So I have like a personal connection to. Yeah, I just don't find that kind of tragedy or anything like World War II, anything involved with that, or, Vietnam. I don't know. I just don't find those kinds of jokes very tasteful at all. So,
thank you for the super chat, Tim Whitfield. Have any of us seen Sesame Street Follow That Bird? I have not.
I have
I
not.
think I saw it like when I was 4 or 5. It's been a while. Is it on? I think it's on HBO Max. Maybe it is.
That's the home of Sesame Street, so possibly.
I'm always down to watch that or some Elmo and Grinchland.
Also, Nick, going back to it, Adventure Time. Yeah, for me, it's 8. 8 is the one that has like basically every episode is like some connection to others, where it's got what is it? It's got Broke His Crown.
Yeah, I'm looking through the list now.
I Have a Sword. Bun Bun. I
really
love Bun Bun. Bun Bun's a great episode. The Elemental.
Card Wars. That one's good.
Preboot and Reboot. And then it leads into Islands.
Yeah. I always think of Preboot and Reboot as the finale to season 8, and then everything else is the last season. But now it's like 4 different seasons now.
What about Preboot and Reboot would lead you to believe it's a season finale, Nick? Is it the fact that it has the Lich in it, and like every other season finale had the Lich in it? Or is it the fact that it's like a really kind of big feeling episode? Or oh gosh, Cartoon Network butchered it, man.
Isn't that the episode that was supposed to come out in like summer 2016, and then it was like 5 months until came out in November without being advertised?
Oh, okay. Worst episode of Adventure Time in your guys' opinion, and actually this ties back. We forgot to mention this. Okay, Water Park Prank is basically not completely objective.
Oh yeah,
but as close to objectively as a worst episode of the show you will ever find. People who diehard defend the show do not defend Water Park Prank. I have bigger issues with, episodes like the Comet or Orgalorg or other things happening in season 6. But don't forget, it's also the season that gave us Water Park Prank, which the art style from that episode came back in BMO. And
yeah, it's the flashback towards the end by whatever that character is. The one with the
Simo or whatever.
Yeah, Simo, the bootleg BMO.
Mm-hmm.
I think it kind of worked there because it was quick and not an entire episode.
But it reminded me of Water Park Prank, which
I didn't like that.
Yeah. I'm happy Water Park Prank took a creative risk, though, says Rubber Hose. Not me. I didn't say that. Rubber Hose said that. Yeah, I mean, I guess, but like, it just doesn't. It's not Adventure Time at all, and it's not comedically funny. It doesn't make sense in the context of the show, and you can call it non-continuity or whatever you want, but it's like, it's still a part of the show, and the art style for a whole episode does not look right. If you're gonna do an experimental art style, you probably should make it not one that looks worse than the regular art style. Like, it's subjective, of course, but it looks like a Nick Jr. show, and that's like not what Adventure Time season 6's tone is going for.
Isn't the next episode the one that's like the really in-depth backstory for Magic Man? I'm pretty sure they're like back to back.
Water Park Prank, and then You Forgot Your Floaties, which everyone thought were related episodes because
the title. Yeah.
Yeah, but no.
We got a super chat from Tim Whitfield. Thoughts on the Steven Universe episode, Fusion Cuisine? Do you remember the Steven Universe episode?
That's the one with Alexandrite, right?
Yeah, with they have to meet Connie's parents,
Yeah.
and there's like no action.
There's a
kinda
lot of
funny.
running.
Yeah, the first episode, the first thing I thought about that episode is like that's the one where Connie's like, "Hey Steven, let's just run away. This dinner's going terrible."
Hey Steven, you ever seen The Graduate?
yeah, I guess because it's kind of dumb, but there's some funny drawings in it, and I don't know. I think there's some good jokes. I know people like consider it like a worst of the worst episode, but there's a lot of stuff from like that era, like I guess the first half of Steven Universe's first season, around that time, which is like I went back to it recently and like I dig it. I think it's funny. It's not what the show would become. It feels like a completely different show, but yeah.
Well, the thing
characters are fine.
Yeah, I mean, it was around that time when you were still kind of wondering, like, how much do regular citizens know about, like, magical rock aliens? And the answer to that is they will not be that surprised by, like, a giant mutant fusion alien thing showing up as Steven's parent, but they will be very upset if they do not act proper during that dinner.
Yeah.
Like, they'll act mildly surprised at there being this giant alien, but then more surprised when things are a little awkward.
Still waiting for the Steven Universe episode where the military... What's going on here?
Hey, Nick, you remember? This is a question from Pie Guy Rules. Do you remember when Adventure Time had a Minecraft episode?
Heck yeah. You can
oh my gosh, bringing up Minecraft again, Pie. Come on.
Listen, there are times when
this is just as bad as my Powerpuff.
We go way back, Shadow.
Nick and I did a discussion of this, and I still forget this exists sometimes because it was dropped in the middle of nothing, like between big hiatus of Gumbaldia and then the finale of the series, just randomly dropped about a video game that, like, in 2018 was experiencing probably the lowest interest in Minecraft that has ever been. It's come back a lot
last year. Minecraft's back, baby.
Yeah. Oh man.
Hey, Pie, remember when Rick and Morty did a Minecraft episode?
Dude, in the same year, or I guess like the same year and a half, I talked about a Rick and Morty episode that heavily featured Minecraft, a Simpsons episode that heavily featured a Minecon parody, and an Adventure Time episode that is like a literal official crossover with Minecraft. Well, apparently it worked though, because yeah, Minecraft's back, baby. So, did Cartoon Network save or Minecraft? Oh god. Okay, we got a super chat from Poor 22 Edo. Have any of us seen the SpongeBob musical? No.
I saw it. Yeah, I saw it live, like around the time it opened. Yeah, back in like late 2017. I think it was like one of the first post preview showings. It was really good. It was different, but like everything about the characters felt like SpongeBob. The songs had a very different musical feel, but I liked it, and they did some different things with some of the characters, Earl and Squidward, and I really liked it. They felt more fleshed out, just for the sake of like not making them gags. And the casting of that original cast was really good. They like Hamilton, they recorded it recently. They premiered it on Nickelodeon back in like December, and I think it's like up on iTunes, so you can watch it and buy it and whatnot.
I won't, but
yeah.
No, if it comes, I don't know. If it comes to CBS All Access, maybe I'll see it. I don't know.
I think it's actually, not saying that, I know what your stance on SpongeBob is, but it is very different than what the show is right now.
I don't doubt that it is a well-made musical. Like, I'm not. It's just like, yeah, I'm pretty sick of SpongeBob. So, yeah. Have you heard about the upcoming Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie produced by Seth Rogen and directed by Jeff Rowe of Gravity Falls?
Yeah. Yeah, they announced this recently. Seth Rogen's production company is going to be involved. We don't know how much moment he'll have.
Is Seth going to be each of the turtles?
He's going to be all the turtles at once. The second Seth to play a Ninja Turtle. We already had Seth Green. The Seths are coming back.
Seths are back. and they're coming at you. Oh gosh.
It's good. I think what's interesting is it's going to be produced by Nickelodeon Animation, like in their actual animation studio. I think it's not like a Paramount contracted film. So I mean that could be good, depending on what angle they do it. And Jeff Rowe, he worked on Gravity Falls and Disenchantment, and Connected, that Sony movie by Lord and Miller, who also worked on Clone High. But but yeah, I hope it's good. My only thing with it, I'm not a big Ninja Turtles guy, but I hope they don't call it Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because then it's going to be like the seventh thing that's just called Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We got the original show, we got the original comic, we got the early 90s movie, we got the 2012 show, we got the 2014 movie, and the video game that's all like for the Super NES. Yeah,
There's that time when they versed Batman too. Or met Batman? I'm not entirely sure, but
it's versus Batman.
okay,
Yeah, I didn't see it.
Just give it a subtitle, please.
Please, yeah.
Or just call them Teenage Mutant Ninja Tortoises. You know, just mix it up a little bit, just a little bit.
Ooh, that'd be different.
Or maybe I don't know. Maybe age them up or down. Go.
No, don't age them
Childish Mutant Ninja Turtles.
No.
I think we already.
No, we don't need that. Pie, don't give them ideas.
Okay.
Don't do this.
What if the people behind the Powerpuff Girls reboot made a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles reboot where they don't fight anyone, they don't live in the sewer, and they just kind of go to school?
I would not watch.
It's on Nickelodeon, and they sure do love kids going to school.
Which is a confusing message right now.
Because kids totally want to go home from school and watch shows about going to school, right? That's what kids want to see.
I like Ned's to classify. Come on, Shadow.
Yeah. In a world full of bullies. One Ned coming at you. Okay. Any other questions, guys? Just got here. Is that NICKtendo? What is this? Some kind of crossover episode? You know,
sure is.
Fun fact: I thought the Nick and NICKtendo's name was for Nickelodeon as well, for a long time, and still I do. I believe it in my heart.
I always thought it was his name.
Yeah, but it's a mashup of. Why would it be a mashup of his name and a brand when it could be a mashup of two brands? You
raise a fair point. I just never thought of that.
I thought about my name when I made it. I'm sorry. It's haunted me for the past. It will be 5 years and 2 weeks.
Well, not all of you can have as well thought out and brilliant names as Pie Guy Rules with a Z. So.
I actually feel I did a good job.
You're named after a Sonic character. Get out of here.
No. Only the shadow part, but the streak part makes it actually work because it's like a streak of light, which is what happens when the Powerpuff Girls fly. They leave
but a shadow is not light. It's the opposite of light.
But that's the oxymoron. That's why it works. It's an oxymoron.
That's oxymoronic.
Come on. How dare you?
We got a good question from Rubber Hose. Someone who he's asked any non-Clone High shows that lasted one season that you want to be revived. Mission Hill.
Fred.
Have you guys seen Mission Hill? The creators are trying to bring it back. Yeah. It's cool. It's like it's by two showrunners from season 6, 7, 8 Simpsons, who were like, hey, there's no teenage and young adult characters on the show, so they did this show for WB in the late 90s. It's really cool. It's got a really interesting art style. I recommend it. It's like I don't think it's streaming anywhere, but it should be.
I'm trying to think, like off the top of my head, if there's any like one season shows.
Symbionic Titan is what we're talking about in the comments.
How about? Yeah, I don't know. It's not a one season show, but The Critic, 2 seasons. Critic was pretty good, but I don't know.
The length of The Critic is like about the length of a single Simpsons season.
God.
I heard someone mention that it's probably not the best idea to bring the critic back now because most of the voice cast are dead.
I mean, you could say that a little nicer, Nick, but
Um,
yeah, no, probably. They
I'm
did also
sorry.
they did
Most
also
of the
try,
voice cast are now just.
have unfortunately passed away. Not, aw, we can't bring the critic back because everyone's dead.
I would say this is
God.
to kind of make things a little more lighthearted again. I would say this is another one that lasted 2 seasons, but Spectacular Spider-Man.
Yeah, everyone says
Yeah,
that.
that's never gonna
that's a
happen.
lame answer, but all right.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Let me find
Robot.
something really obscure that nobody ever talks about. I'll get back to you on that.
Secret Mountain Fort Austin.
Robotomy. Let's bring back Robotomy, everyone. Monsters would be proud of me for saying that.
We should bring back Camp Laszlo.
No, God, no. Stop.
Yeah, we don't need that.
How
No.
about Foster's?
Oh,
Shadow,
man.
what if they gave the team behind the Powerpuff Girls reboot Foster's Home for
No.
Imaginary Friends?
No. No, no.
It would be
No.
about Mac going to school.
They've already
It
they would not ever go to the imaginary friend's home. It would just be Max in class, and that's the whole
They can
thing.
only
I
have
feel like out of Jimmy's head.
no.
No. Out of Jimmy's head, except there's no cartoon character, so it's just a random boy.
I will say if they bring Foster's back, it could probably work better in 11 minutes because some of those
Yeah.
early episodes of that show were just really
Mhm.
stretched out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It could definitely be good if they condense the plots.
That is
Um,
weird, right? That is one show that is a 22-minute comedy cartoon show, which is very strange. At least in children's show world land. But yeah, that's
Well,
one that could actually be improved.
Not that strange. I mean, you got your
Oh.
Gravity Falls and your other current Disney Channel originals.
I mean, I guess, but those are also like hybrid action shows. I wouldn't necessarily say that Foster's was a hybrid action show.
Mm.
MLP was technically 22
Yeah.
minutes.
Star Versus wasn't really a hybrid action show.
Oof.
Although everyone wanted it to be.
Yeah. Don't remind me.
Yeah. Hey, just remember, I said it wasn't good first.
You did. You did. It's funny though, because around the time you put out that video was around the time I stopped watching it anyway. So.
All right, let's look at some more questions. Have any of you guys seen The Owl House? Alex Hirsch actually voices a few characters on the show. I have seen The Owl House. It's pretty good. I need to watch more to figure out what I think about it.
Same.
Yep.
Hopefully it'll be
Yep.
satisfying because right now it's just a bunch of setup and stuff I've seen before. But hopefully it can keep figuring out its own identity.
Nick, what do you think of Mr. Enter's Nick-O-Rama series?
Okay, I recently unsubscribed to Mr. Enter. I really
Oh, give us the dirt. Here we go.
Bro, whenever I watch any of his videos, I have no idea what he's talking about.
No.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm not really sure where a lot of his opinions come from, because there's a lot of misinformation, and I do that a lot. I do that too. Everyone makes mistakes, but
Yeah, same.
yeah, it's just like it happens every video. And man, I'm glad I never did a collab with him. So people will badger me,
Oh my god.
Mr. Honor.
Oh my god. Okay. Well,
Oh.
I
actually,
I hope he gets better, and I hope he I hope he keeps. I hope he's able to improve himself, but I don't know. Not a fan at the moment. Don't start beef with me and Mr. Enter. I really I used to watch him. I'm just kind of confused by his videos now.
okay. Yeah, I don't pay any attention to what he does. I don't have any affiliation with him. I don't generally know what he does other than what people joke about, or so I don't really have any opinions. But someone did recently ask, like, how do I feel about him talking about more serious subjects? And honestly, I don't begrudge anyone, especially right now, wanting to talk about more serious things, because there's a lot of stuff going on, and if you feel like you have something to add to the conversation, then it's good for people to try to take a stance and to talk about something and use whatever you've got to make a change. I don't think everyone has to do that, but I don't begrudge him for doing that. But I will say that, and I've learned this recently. Well, not learned this, but I don't know. I've had this reinforced, just that if you're gonna make a video about something that is more serious, like in Enter's case, I'll just say healthcare. I know, not that that's divided, that's divisive, but that's not as loaded as some of other topics that are going on right now. If he's gonna make videos on it, he's got to do better than adopting like the same amount of research or treating it in the same way as doing like a review of a cartoon episode. Because if you're gonna put your name out there and you're gonna put your opinion out there, if you have a platform, we see it with J.K. Rowling, where it's like J.K. Rowling is not qualified to talk about anything like trans or medical or mental health. Like she doesn't have any PhDs. She is not a doctor of any sort. Like you know what I mean? Like she is someone with an opinion, a kind of ill-informed opinion. But the problem is when you have a base that will listen to you and you have a platform, it's like you can't just kind of like spout off some half-cocked opinion. Like if Mr. Enter wants to believe that I don't know, what does he believe, that people shouldn't have healthcare or something, that healthcare shouldn't be free. I don't know. If he wants to have whatever opinion on it, he can, but he should know that like by making a big video about it, and if he doesn't do the right research, he's gonna rightfully get a lot of people that point out like where they disagree with him and or where he's factually wrong or where it seems like he's coming off as whatever thing. So no, I don't begrudge anyone for wanting to shift and talk about something more serious, but if you're gonna do it, you got to do it in the right way. And again, I don't know if Mr. Enter did it. Go for it, Shadow.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, when it comes to topics like that, semantics are everything. I know in a lot of cases it's like, oh, you're just arguing semantics, but when it comes to loaded topics like that, semantics are really critical because people can easily misconstrue, misinterpret, what have you. And I'm sure that there are some things maybe Mr. Enter said where he meant one thing over the other, or and everyone does that, unintentionally. But you really got to be careful when handling something like that, and double, triple, quadruple revise everything you say before you say it, because especially when it comes to something like that and you have a bunch of people watching you and they can see what you say,
right?
If it comes off the wrong way, it will go back and bite you big time,
right? I mean, it's
even if you don't mean it.
Like I don't think anyone, and again, I don't know the situation entirely, but it's like I wouldn't be upset with him if he just like genuinely thought for whatever reason that healthcare should be expensive or like whatever his opinion is. But I would look down on him if he were to spread that an opinion in an ill-informed way. And I mean, like recently, actually this week, I made a video talking about something related to streaming news, and I tried to preface things and I tried to point blank state what my reason was and why I'm saying all this and whatever. But it's a loaded topical issue, and there's going to be heavy dissenting and heavy discussion, and if you're going to upload a video like that, you got to be prepared for it, and I wasn't, and it'll make me think about if I ever want to talk about serious things again, how I would want to talk about them, or if I'm ready, if I'm prepared for whatever backlash, and you got to be careful, because it's like you can't bow to the backlash, because when you're talking about serious, important issues, of course, people are going to feel passionate, and of course, people are going to come at you with well-researched rebuttals or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And there's not, in a lot of situations, there's not one correct answer. Both sides can be right and wrong about various aspects, which makes coming to a conclusion on these issues so much more difficult.
But it's also tricky because, again, we, I say this as all three of us, we make videos on subjective opinion stuff. Like our interpretations of art. And in a way, I mean, you could be factually wrong about some aspects, but in a way, your feelings on it can't be wrong. Some people can get mad at you, but honestly, unless you said something factually incorrect or you spread hate towards the artists or whatever,
anyone who gets mad at you for that is just kind of wrong and stupid, to be honest. Or mad at you over your opinion on a subjective piece of art. But once you step into the
Right.
world of real world policy, real world things that affect people and affect when people live or die and how they're seen and perceived in the world, like this is more serious and it needs to be handled a little bit differently than a video talking about Johnny Test.
Correct.
Speaking of Johnny Test,
So
Yeah, sorry to go on a rant there. Sorry.
no,
Yeah, you're fine.
it's cool.
Go ahead, Nick.
Oh no, I didn't have anything to say about Johnny Test. I do want to answer.
In that case,
Yeah, I want to answer a question from Pinata Time, who asks, what is some of your favorite Futurama episodes, and what do you think was the best season? Favorite episode: Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings. Favorite season: 4.
I would probably also say season 4 is the best. And favorite episode,
Gonna go Sad Dog or
no. No, I'm not. I mean, Jurassic Park's great, but I don't know. It's not the be all end all episode of the series. I don't know. I kind of like the Why of Fry. I know that's kind of like I don't know. But I do like the fact that the series kind of has a point to it and a well thought out one. And it's hard to go back in time. Oh God, no pun intended. To really like, the context of the first time you find out like stuff, the reason why Fry is in the future and like everything that's going on and like the hidden Easter eggs in the pilot. Like it's hard to go back because that stuff is just such common knowledge now. But I remember at the time, a lot about that storyline was very, very interesting, and very like shocking, and very well planned out. I also am a huge proponent of the pilot.
Oh yeah, pilot's really good. There are a couple things that don't make their way into the series that well, like the job chips or whatever. Yeah. But yeah, no, I think the pilot's pretty solid.
It's one of the best pilots, I think. Like the most, even though again, there are elements that don't make it into the series. It seems more like they just chose not to include those elements, or they kind of fell behind. Versus like these elements didn't work. Like I could very easily see a version of Futurama where they do still care about job chips and stuff like that. But it's a very fully realized pilot. How about you, Shadow? Did you watch?
So Futurama is one of those shows that I've always wanted to see but never got around to it, but it's on my list and I definitely need to get to it at some point, and I heard nothing but great things, so I don't have an answer, but I want to watch it. So
cool.
Yeah. There is a question I want to touch on. This was from Philip. He says, this is for Pi specifically. So Pi Guy, how did you enjoy interviewing M. Night Shyamalan in your most recent video? I can't believe you got a hold of him.
Oh man. Okay, look. So my girlfriend had never seen the super deformed chibi Avatar shorts. Okay, we're watching through the show on Netflix and I'm like, oh my God, you got to see these. These are really funny and good. And so we pop in the bonus disc on season 2 of Avatar, and it includes an interview with M. Night Shyamalan. And I remember seeing this interview, and I watched the interview, and there are so many big oof moments where like he talks about how he's going to spend the next 6 years of his life working on the trilogy, and he hopes that the kids, this is stuff I didn't even use in the edit, by the way. He hopes that the kids who play the main characters are going to become, they're just sitting in school right now, but they're going to become the biggest stars soon. He talks about really loving the show and wanting to respect it and do right by it. And it's just like literally everything in the interview is a big oof. And I'm like, I don't know. I want to just have fun with my channel and try out some experimental stuff. So yeah, no, it was very fun. All those reactions might be taken a little out of context, but everything M. Night said, he said, I shifted the context to be like after the movie's released. But in reality, that interview takes place before, while the show is still in production, and it's just kind of crazy to see this stuff that he says. I don't mean any disrespect to him. He seems like a very nice guy, but he just doesn't. He didn't get Avatar. People can have different opinions on it, but like, I truly can't fathom how anyone can look at the last Avatar and see anything other than just like a complete mess, or at least a partial mess.
Did you
that says it all.
Yeah.
That right there.
Yeah.
Did you have to rip that from the DVD? Did you record it or find it online?
Nick, I'm not about to discuss how certain things may have been taken.
I understand. Sorry,
But,
that's me being like editing paranoid.
I'll tell you after the stream.
You broke into M. Night's house, took just
That
re-recorded it. You restaged the interview.
Well, which by the way, that interview was shot really weirdly too, with them shuffling around in chairs all the time. But no, if you want to see the original interview, it is uploaded on YouTube, not by me, but by someone else who has like a watermark and low quality and stuff. So if you want to see the original interview, it is there. Anyway, we got a super chat from Philly Special. Thank you. Can you review every regular show episode like I did with SpongeBob? No, definitely not.
I would do that if someone asked me, but no one's asked me. So.
NICKtendo.
Wow.
Will you review? Can you review every episode of SpongeBob of regular show like you did SpongeBob?
Well, let's see if I can do it like I did with SpongeBob. Start with the newest season, and then not cover it. Do a couple videos, and then I don't know, vaguely talk about the rest. Sure, that's I can make that commitment for sure. Mm-hmm. And you know who else reviews every episode of regular?
Oh,
my mother. She really likes it a lot.
You should get your mom to do it.
Oh man. All right, guys. Probably just a few more questions, and then we're gonna wrap things up here. Gosh.
How hype are you for Crash Bandicoot 4?
6.
It looks pretty good.
I don't have a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One.
I'm gonna be honest. Crash Bandicoot isn't like one of my favorite gaming franchises. Like I prefer Spyro for starters. But it looks good.
Yeah.
So you know, there's promise. But, yeah, it's just like apparently Crash 4 also has microtransactions, just like CTR.
Oh, I think that was a mistake.
Oh,
yeah.
Really?
So I think what it was is they're gonna have pre-order bonuses costumes, and I think that got mistaken as a microtransaction.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's something you have to download
That makes
additionally.
sense. Okay. All right. Well, in that case, then that's less of an issue.
Could be wrong.
I don't know.
We'll see.
Yeah. Overall, though, it looks good, but I'm probably not going to get
it. With the Proud Family coming back, what other late 90s, early 2000s Disney show do you want to see revived? Personally, I'd love to see the Recess Gang in middle school or Kim Possible season 5. So from the Glad in Gladiator, Hercules.
I want to see Corey is the house.
I don't think
that's when Corey becomes president. He is the house now.
I am I'd be up for Corey in the house. I definitely think his actor definitely are up for it. But I could go for an animated reboot of Kim Possible. Do not need more live action. Not a fan.
I don't know. I think I'm good. I like Recess, but I don't really need to see modern Recess. I think the Proud Family is a good choice.
Yeah,
but yeah, that's about it. I don't know. I mean, Kim Possible's fine, but it didn't have a short run. It got a postscript season.
Oh, and someone mentioned it in the comments. Big Hero 6, the series, is in the vein of
what?
Shares the same creators.
I still need to check that out because I remember like wanting to see it back when it was announced, but like I never got around to it.
I think that's on my to be watched list on Disney.
Yeah.
You say there isn't anything
it's got
hard-hitting?
Kind of a story arc in season 1.
Clifford says, you say that there isn't anything hard-hitting on HBO Max. What about Looney Tunes cartoons? I mean, I
I mean, they're good, but like I don't know if Looney Tunes cartoons are enough to sell the whole service.
Yeah, I don't think so.
That's kind of what I'm looking at. Like what I would see is like if Game of Thrones was getting a season 9 and they're like season 9 only on HBO Max. That's like a hard-hitting like yes, everyone wants this service.
Well, I don't
now.
know that people want to see
But-
any more from Game of Thrones, to be honest.
Well,
Shadow.
no, not now. But I'm just saying in terms of like a series that's like on a grander scale. Like yes, the Looney Tunes cartoons are great, but I don't think that is like the driving force like the way Stranger Things is for Netflix
Right.
or The Mandalorian was for
Right.
Disney Plus. There's nothing on
Well,
that scale yet.
and that's what I said with like the Disney Plus thing is that like yeah, the Pixar shorts, right? Like they're really good. But the shorts. I mean, are you going to get a streaming service for like what, 10, 11-minute episodes? Like no, if you really cared that much, you could just get the free trial. Like I just don't it's
Yeah.
not Looney Tunes is a big brand, undoubtedly. And Looney Tunes cartoons are great, but like for a lot of people, I don't know, that's not enough. And for me, I don't think that's enough either. And especially now, you know, I've seen them. I don't really know that I ever care enough to go back to them, to be honest. Like maybe if there was a lot more of them or they were still, you know, but we don't even know if there'll be another season. So
Yeah. I mean, I hope there is.
mhm.
But...
And that's also a kind of niche thing. Like there's a lot of people that
Yeah.
don't really care about Looney Tunes, you know, like Elmo, right? Like Elmo is a selling point for kids certainly or families, but it's like we watched it, we talked about it. There isn't anything really to get out of it as an adult, and unless you're watching it with a kid, really. So for a huge portion of the audience, is just not going to care, regardless of if it's a good show or not. There needs to be, and it's basically always like a drama series, you know, like an Orange Is the New Black or Stranger Things or Mandalorian. Just something that really is like, holy cow, this is a big hit for the network. Yeah.
captivating.
Speaking of which, I just got an email from Quibi. Let's see what's going on with that. Oh man, new shows are coming, guys. Maplewood Murders, The Fugitive, Don't Look Deeper. They're all coming to Quibi. Lovely. Oh man. All right, guys. Give us your last questions, and then we are out of here.
Let's see. Toon J actually says they're making 80 Looney Tunes cartoons,
Oh.
so there's still 70 more on the way. So
That's
yeah,
neat.
okay, that's good. It's not gonna die for a while. That's good.
My biggest fear is that the Clone High reboot goes to Quibi.
Quibi won't last that long.
Yeah, I know it won't last that long. I went on the Wikipedia page for Quibi, and like one of the first things is their profits were down after launch.
Yep.
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 Oh man. Yeah, that's something. Who would win in a fight between the three of us?
Well, I'm a pacifist, so I lose.
Pie Guy could probably beat me up. I don't know.
I'd literally just let you guys punch me. I'm gonna be real.
I wouldn't hurt either of you guys though. I'd
Then I guess none of us would
Yeah.
want to fight.
when people fight, no one wins. There's no such thing as a
That's
good work,
true.
you know, unless it's between gems that can all magically be healed.
Yeah, that's true. You raise a good point.
I mean, oh dear. Nintendo has the power of Johnny Test on his side.
That's like God and anime combined.
Maybe you could instigate a fight, Nick. I don't know.
I feel like my opinions are spicy enough that I probably could. Definitely get some people in that Thundercats Roar video comment section. Get that over there.
Have you heard of The Lion Guard? It's a Disney Junior show based on The Lion King that gets surprisingly dark. I've heard of it.
Yeah.
I've heard of it, but I don't know like anything about it.
I see
really,
the
so-
out of context clips that people post on Twitter. Not really interested.
Nick,
Yeah,
the
same
thing
here.
is, your Thundercats Roar hot take is correct.
Thank you, Ryan Rivety. Oh, my good friend and mutual acquaintance. I agree. I honestly, they did like a 2-part episode a couple weeks ago, and I don't want to say they fixed some of the problems, but there was definitely more of an effort to flesh it. There's been more of an effort to flesh out the cast and give them some more flaws. And
Okay.
some of the action and animation is really good. Like honestly, people were complaining about the art style, and I get that, but the animation itself can be fantastic at some points. People nitpick it way too much.
Thundercats 2011. I mean, that is a show that only got one season. People.
Oh
want
yeah.
more.
Yeah. I feel like it would be good to come back. But I feel like when people discuss Roar, they bring it up way too often when it's a completely separate show.
Roar. Thundercats Roar is a stupid name.
It is a stupid name.
Am I allowed to say that, or is that?
Yeah, no, it's a stupid name. They don't actually say Thundercats Roar, I don't think, in the show.
My biggest issue with it is still that Panther looks like a shark.
He looks like Rad from OKKO.
All right. Well, thank you guys for showing up. Thank you, NICKtendo, for being here.
You're welcome. It was good to be here.
If you haven't seen NICKtendo's videos, NICKtendo makes videos and then gets upset when you tell him that you haven't watched them yet.
Only you.
But you shouldn't do that because you should go and watch them. And no, yeah, his videos are really good. He had a good Mystery Inc. video a few weeks ago. And his Clone High video is probably good too.
Yeah, I was proud of it. So hopefully you'll like it. Maybe. If you like Clone High, you'll probably like the video.
Mm-hmm. All right. And Shadow, thank you for existing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Shadow
I'm
makes
glad.
good
I'm really
videos
glad I
too.
exist.
No, you're the guest. You're the guest, Nick. The one time I tried to
know.
thank Shadow for being here, he acted as if I was treating him like some sort of special guest and not a co-host. So
I appreciate the compliment, Nick, but if you don't care about the Powerpuff Girls reboot, you probably won't want to watch my channel.
Your Battle for
so-
Bikini Bottom video is very informative, and I liked it a lot.
Thank you. That's like the only non-Powerpuff video I've made this entire year. So I'm proud of it, and it seemed to have been received well. So I might make more stuff like it in the future.
Cool.
but-
cool. I'll be streaming on Thursday on my second channel, Pie Guy Plays, more Battle for Bikini Bottom, if you're interested. And otherwise, we will be back here next Sunday. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see you guys then.
NICKtendo also out.